Okay, so I have merged my changes and thankfully nothing blew up and we can continue to move on. What I want to do is deploy these updates to Devnet now rather than working on the locally, because this way I can really test out this PDA mint, initialize it, create it once, this DApp token mint, and we're good to go because it should and well, obviously will persist on Devnet. One of the issues though, this has always been a little tricky for me. So there's this command where you can see all the running programs that you currently have. And I've changed my config. So let me just use a different terminal. So if I do Solana config get, I now have everything on pointing to Devnet. So when you run this Solana program, U means the URL, so essentially the cluster show programs. Here I have like all these crazy programs from other projects and experiments apparently on Devnet. And one thing that has always been a little confusing for me is that whenever I create a new program or do an anchor deploy, every once in a while I'll get an entirely different program ID. And I was just Googling around and I found this thread on Stack Overflow. And apparently, yeah, this anchor deploy command will deploy a new program ID. It doesn't always do that. There's more to it. I still need to research as to why. But Anchor has a anchor upgrade command where this guy or the person who posted a solution commented where you can use anchor upgrade to upgrade the on-chain program code. And so when looking at that, I have from, let's see, if I go up to my anchor toml, yeah, so this is my anchor toml, and I have some old, I was experimenting with something there, but I have these old program IDs that just went away. I'm like, I don't know why, but whenever I would swap over to locally and I did the anchor build and anchor deploy, I got some new IDs. And so I went back and updated all the declare IDs and whatnot throughout my project to match with the new IDs that anchor deploy gave me. And so I added them as a copy here under the program, the local net settings, as well as the DevNet settings. But originally it looked something like this. And when I go back over here, I can find those old ones are still here, and they even have like a sole balance and whatnot. So there's something going on. I could consider completely, maybe closing these programs. There is a, let me do it on a different one. There is a Solana close command, or wait, maybe it's Solana program help. Let's see. Where, yeah, close a program or buffer account and withdraw all LAN ports. So I don't know if there's an anchor close. So essentially, there's a build, a init, clean. There's stuff like that. So there's, I probably could go through and close some of these older program IDs and retrieve the balances back. Or maybe there's a way where I could do like anchor upgrade and then specify, like target deploy. Clearly I've attempted this in the past thanks to the warp and remembering what I've tried. So I haven't fully understood how this works. So essentially I could consider, if I really wanted to reuse those older IDs, those program IDs, and just upgrade it, which is really all that I'd like to do. next, let's try it. So Solana, well, Solana still on dev, that's good. Now if we do Solana balance, just double checking we're still, all right, so now let's do anchor deploy. Yeah, I just have a feeling this is going to be a completely different program ID. It's like I lost those. Yeah, look at this HK1 crap. It's like somehow, some way in the past, I have a program out there, like the previous 9INJ whatever. It's on Devnet. It's out there, but I have misplaced the or somehow I've cleaned and destroyed the Keypair for those older program IDs. So my hunch though, this failed. I'm getting it now. This failed, and this is purely because I don't have enough money in my wallet. So if I go to Solana balance, like it's eaten up that 13 sol. Yeah, I've got 1 sol, so I can't deploy these other programs. That said, I know this is evolving. This is taking a lot longer than I was hoping, but I think we're starting to get a little bit more of an understanding of how this crap works, slowly but surely. I have new IDs. Now, which ones have deployed? We have deployed the ledger and voting. So HK and FK are the start. So if I look at the IDL, we have these Keypair files, and I bet the ledger down at the bottom has the metadata address. Yep, and that's what I was thinking. Same, and I bet it's the same for the voting. Scroll down. Yep. All right. So, so what this means, is that that whole anchor upgrade. Oh boy. Yeah, that makes sense, I guess, if you still have the existing Keypair files to your in deploy, you know. Otherwise, I could upgrade the program file on chain using anchor upgrade, but the issue is that you know, well, you saw with this anchor stuff, when I do an anchor deploy, I was having issues, and I bet, you know, it's really crazy. All of this, if Solana program provider cluster devnet, and then show, can I do that? Solana program u, there it is. If this would work, and it may not work, but basically my program is out there. All these programs I haven't touched. I did anchor upgrade. So if Solana DevNet works for me, then what that means is that it will show all these programs that are already out there on chain. Yeah, it's timing out. I did upgrade it to the latest, but previously when I tried to do, yeah, okay, let me think through here. Why is this breaking? What was the cause of all this? Well, the start of all this was when I don't need it here. The start of all this is when I go to cd app and I try to do npm run build. It will build it. This is my SvelteKit app. However, when we have some issues, because when I try to preview it and run it in the browser using the npm run preview, it errors because my anchor provider, the anchor provider IDL, is looking to a JSON file with a program ID. That address is not available. Yeah, so all this issue, if you may recall, is because my routes layout svelte, this cannot be found. Okay, it's looking for, where is it? Line 7 here, over here. It's looking for this IDL. And back looking into this component, the IDL is right here. So like it can't find address. So IDL metadata address. Well, that metadata property and its property address don't get added to the JSON file until you use anchor deploy. Well, I've been using anchor deploy. I've been using anchor deploy, but it kept on using the wrong addresses. Like it would still like use these older program IDs. And the reason for that is because my target directory in my deploy, we have all these Keypair files, these JSON files. Well, when you deploy, Anchor will build, and when you deploy, it will read these JSON Keypair files and find its corresponding public key and slot that in, add that in as metadata to the actual IDL JSON files. My problem is that my Keypair files all I have lost those original Keypair files through for whatever reason, swapping over a different branch on GitHub or whatever. I've lost those Keypair files, and it was generated thanks to Anchor build and deploy. Like I got generated these new Keypair files, which gave me these new program IDs. So I just had to completely remove and wipe out. I didn't have to. I experimented. I wiped out and removed my target directory, reran the Anchor, the Anchor build. I'm going to close this side out so we can see better. And deployed, and it was able to deploy my the ledger and the voting program. Okay, completely different new IDs. If I look out here though, so now by deploying, I finally have what I was looking for, which is the metadata address is added to the IDL file itself, the JSON down at the bottom. Great. My next step would be to copy over these IDLs, these JSON files, into my app using the little script, IDL right here, to update. Because if I look at what's in my front end app in terms of the JSON file, it doesn't have the metadata. This is old. It's not updated. Yeah. If I go back to the one that's just been freshly built, thanks to Anchor, it has this. So if I were to copy this over, my layout svelte component, wherever that is, would finally have the correct information to build that Anchor provider connection correctly, and we wouldn't have any of the errors. So that, needless to say, that is the cause of all this crap. And now I'm not going to bore you, but I'm going to update. I'm going to get the money in my my local wallet, get enough money, redeploy all these programs, and that would give me my fresh IDL JSON files. So then I can copy them over to my front-end app, and that stuff would work after using kind of Vite's, npm run preview to preview it locally. So let me do that. But yeah, a little bit. I mean, lots of stuff to consider. I'm learning how this stuff is kind of working behind the scenes. All right, I'm not done yet. It takes a while, but what's kind of cool is that you can still, even though I don't have the key pairs anymore with me in my directory or anything like that, I still can close these programs. And the reason is because my local, I'm deploying them using this wallet, and I think it's able to, obviously I wouldn't be able to close any random program out there. So I've been going through these programs and just passing in their, the Solana program close command, and pass in the project ID, the program ID, and it will close them and reclaim the soul. So obviously I can't use these anymore, but I've already lost those key pairs. They've been replaced with new ones. So that's kind of neat. And then another thing too, I forgot, but anchor keys list. This, yes, when I built it, I was given those program files. I have not successfully deployed everything. I'm still in the process of, getting enough soul to do that. But anchor keys list, it will show you, after you do anchor build, you're going to have these keys. So anchor already knows, this is deriving the public key, essentially, from each of those program key pairs, key pair files. So what that means is that here I've already replaced them. These are the new keys to use, new program IDs. So now my next step is to take all of these IDs, update them throughout my, my lib files and whatnot, and the constants that I'm using, yada, yada, yada. But once I'm done with that, then I can continue to finish the deployment. And yeah, so that's where we're at. Okay, I think I got everything updated. So let's give this another go. Let's just do it. I guess the deploy will still deploy the program, even if it's already been previously deployed and no changes. Technically I don't need to redeploy the ledger and spend the money on it. We'll see. Okay, at least the ID is the same. I'm starting out with almost 26 soul. So assuming the deployment fees don't take up that much, I guess in the future I could skip and just specify the program. Okay, so those are successfully deployed, which is encouraging. And just a WRN. Yeah, okay. So the IDs are the same, and my hunch is if I open this up, yeah, now we have the metadata. Okay. All right, connecting some dots. So now that that is ready, let's try the task of cd app. Oh, wait, back up. Copy over. Now cd app, and then do npm run build. And I'll pause for a second. Okay, that's good. And now let's do the npm run preview and get lucky. Let's see if I go over here and refresh. Aha, solved. So no errors, and the reason why is because now my anchor, this anchor provider, routes, layout, can now find the correct IDL. It's got the metadata address. It's got the address property because we've used anchor deploy. Anchor deploy has given us all the, it's updated the IDL files. I've copied that over, and now I can successfully freaking build this thing. So that was a bit of a tangent. So now the next thing, or a little bit of a detour, I should say, but learned a lot along the way. So now, really, we're live. This is still locally built and hosted, which is good. I can test this out locally and then make some commits, and we should also be able to see it live on Vercel's. So, yeah, that was a journey. Okay, I got we have everything running, and I just before I ran the Solana balance, and I see that I've got 17 Sol. So I originally had like 25. So yeah, there was a cost. Obviously, I had to deploy a couple of new programs that were out there. Let's see if Devnet is a program. Solana program show programs. I'm not sure if you just never know with the Devnet, but I've got my wallet connected. No errors so far, and we are officially on Devnet. Let me go up here to failed to load data from RPC. Try refreshing page. Let me go to settings, network. Let's change it over to Devnet. Proceed. And now, yeah. So it's just a extension issue. So I've got 6.99-ish Sol. Yeah, timed out over here. And this is, previously on Devnet, I've had tokens that I've created from using the kind of the old method. So don't really need to airdrop anything, but let's go on over to Ledger. And this is a whole new program. And let's see, I'm going to open up the console. Let's see what kind of token account area. Yeah, this is part of what I've added. This is cool. So we're seeing some changes, recent changes in there. Obviously, I can clean up some of these logs. I don't need to check, but basically, whenever there is no DApp token mint created, then it's going to try to fetch it, but it doesn't exist. So I caught that error and let us proceed. So let's try this. If I hit setup, failed to simulate, let's see, approve. Yeah, error with token setup. It gave me a mint, a PDA address, program error. You know what this may be. for a while there in my front end, I was kind of hard coding the PDA, which very well could be the case. So let's go into ledger and constants. Yeah, this DApp token meant pub key. This was for when I was testing previously in our test. So how to do this? Let's see. I'm going to try. Let me just say, let me just paste this here. This is, I'm going to just call this like Devnet. And this we'll call local host, just to keep track of it. Although, you know, with everything that's changed. So let's do this. Change in quotes. Oops. Yank. All right. I wonder. DApp token meant pub key. And I also have my setup instruction, right? Which is handle all this. We derive it. We derive it here in setup. Just derive it directly, which gives us this new like A6 PDA. Trying to think of where else. So if I go back, yeah, got a few places. Mostly, oh, I do have it from the fetch in my layout. So let me see. Constants, yeah. Okay, just needed to update that. So that looks okay. All right. Error with token setup. Let me try this again. I'm going to go out still on there. Let me pull up my logs. Here's that same reference error document. I was having issues with this even before. So entries, chunks, this was something that I was encountering. And it's still something I need to resolve, but I don't know if it's the real reason. So let's try it. Ledger, got money, hit setup again. Failed to simulate transaction on Devnet. Okay. Wallet store. Did it derive? Yeah, A6VW. It's the same PDA, same address is getting used. All right, let me just check out like other, just double check that something works. Okay, I can sign. That's good. That's good. Voting, escrow, stuff is loading. Yeah, this is stuff that I'm aware of. Ledger. Yeah. Okay. So set up. Yeah. Oh. See anything shown? Error token setup. Anchor error occurred. Declared program ID. Aha. Thank you. A little bit more helpful error message. Okay, so declared program ID mismatch. Well, that's really specific. The declared program ID does not match the actual program ID. Okay. So anchor keys list. Yeah. And so what is, did I not? No, ledger program ID. That's the same one. Method. Curious. After I already copied over the I already copied over the IDL, the JSONs, IDLs to the front end app in my lib folder. So I've got it, and the address, metadata address there matches. Let me see, there's something, something about it's my workspace. Get workspace, create dap token mint. What happens there? So nothing. I get the dap token mint PDA, and then we get an error right here. And this is telling me that this program ID, something's up with my program ID. Or the workspace. Something is not. Ledger program ID constants. I mean, I even have like a check that the program ID and here it is. We're on Devnet. Here's my new ID. PDA. Authority wallet. I was using this, so let me just see. Is there somewhere that I've got where I'm stating? No. Declared program ID mismatch. Let me find this. Look this up. Still not solved, but this error is, I mean, it is what it says it is. It's your IDs mismatch. So, just to verify that essentially what I put in, let's see, so my anchored toml for ledger, as well as if I go to ledger lib, open this up, it's this HK LPQ, HK1 LPQ, Devnet, yada yada. So those two seem to match when I use use the command Solana address and get the public key of the Keypair file that is built for me using anchor build. It comes back with a matching address. So a little tricky. I'm not entirely sure why just yet. Whenever I went back and I tried to run this, and I was given kind of a transaction signature, and I opened that up in the Explorer, and nothing new. Program instruction logs. This is the first log. Custom program error 0x1004. This basically is that that declared program ID does not match the actual program ID. So somewhere I've got something up with my configs. Okay, So I got it to work, and I think I know what happened, or I think I know why. Um, Obviously, there was a program ID mismatch, but for the life of me, I went through, let me pull up some stuff. I went through and just checked everything, make sure that I'm on the right setting. I verified that the program ID is the same public, key that derived from the local, from the program Keypair file. That checks out. I even, looked for this program on chain using the Solana program show and then the program ID. And this is, it came up. So, and then after like quadruple checking everything in my just general TOML settings, as well as constants and whatnot throughout the program, I then redeployed. So I did another anchor build, anchor deploy, and same program ID and everything. Rebuilt the SvelteKit on the front end, and then have the preview. And finally, after all that, it worked. So the program, the DApp token mint PDA is the same as it was because it's deriving the same thing. I even, I added some logs in there just to make sure that I'm looking at the right program, and I am. And now, after finally getting the correct prompt to create the DApp token mint, it succeeded. It showed a deduction of a little bit of SOL to create the mint and whatnot. And now, here we are. I have the DApp token mint. The current DApp token mint is now good. It has 0 supply. The mint authority and whatnot should be itself. Freeze authority. These are all things that we have, configured previously. So let's see. I'm going to now try to create my first ledger, and let's get lucky. And I think this is partly too with working on Devnet. It's a little bit slower, obviously, than Validator. So there are some things that don't, like look how long that took. But hey, it's showing up. Let's hit approve, go through. I'm getting a different pop-up over in another window for minting. So, and it's showing up a deduction of 0.002 something SOL, and it's adding 10,000 of this new DApp token mint supply. And so here it is, getting some logs. My ledger was created. And now if I go into my main account, here it is, A6VW here on Devnet, Solflare wallet, Solflare 1. Got my first one. Looking good. Phew, man, this was taking a while. So let's view. I'll click into this. Let's add, I don't know. Let's just play around with it. Let's do a couple hundred. And entry 1. Okay, let's create an entry. Should pop up. Yeah, it's doing some processing. Here it is. We're seeing the deduction of the token from my wallet. Here we are, view and explore. I think I'm pointing to Devnet, yeah. So it's on Devnet, and here we are. So, okay, this is looking better. Again, my balance now went from 10K to 9,800. Go back over here. We have it. I could modify. Let's do updated one. I'll hit cancel. Okay, looks good. This triggers another transaction. That was faster, simple. instruction. There it is. Okay, finally went through, and you can see that there's a little bit of a delay and updated, refreshed, thanks to the invalidate all. Okay, so at least it went through. Go back, and here we are. Oof, okay, so yeah, I mean, there's stuff on here that I obviously I'm gonna spend some time testing it out. Maybe I'll create another Solflare 2. This is, again, a whole new ledger. So it's going to do a whole new creating the ledger instruction, as well as here in another screen on my other display, it's popping up this little right here, this window. Give that some time, load, see it another 10,000, approve, great, thank you. And here we are. Okay, and let's try to delete it. So if I go to delete, are you sure you want to delete? Oh, hang on, I hit cancel. Go in here, just double checking stuff. So now I've got almost 20K. This should, again, prompt to burn supply. Hit confirm. It's going through the new close ledger instruction. Here it is, refund and deduct, boom. And that is that. I refresh, I only have one ledger. And now, yeah, back down to 9,800 tokens. Okay, wow, all right, so interesting experience, learned a lot. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. I can, if I go over here and disconnect and then reselect, I know this is kind of ugly, but I gotta work on some UI stuff. All right, bunch of little log issues. Here we go. Go into ledger, load that up again. Shows the same deal. So I could, obviously, the setup button, the token is officially good to go, right? And that's nice. So that was kind of like the one-off, like as you deploy your program, anchor deploy, it's now on chain. You log in, you use a wallet, you pay to create the DApp token mint, and save that PDA, save that address, because that's now the official token for this whole app. And now users can create ledgers and play around with that. So yeah, a little bit more involved with the deploy, but again, just I think it's important to kind of, for my own learning, there's a lot of crap along the way, and when you encounter some errors and you're not really sure, there's a lot of places to look. I think I did learn a lot on this one, just about how Anchor and these, when it's compiling your programs, building your programs, and how you have the IDLs and the Keypair files that are generated for each of your programs, and how the program ID is derived from these Keypair files. Pretty cool. And obviously you got to make sure that from your app, the front end is trying to reach out and connect to the correct program and whatnot, and on the right cluster, yada yada yada. So that was that. We are officially deployed on Devnet. We've made a lot of changes, and yeah, I obviously can clean up some UI stuff. I need to generate kind of a better error page, a 500 error page, to display whenever that happens, because if there's things like when I disconnect or refresh like this and there's no connection, and there's some issues around this that I need to address on the front end, but all in all, I can connect my wallet. This should re-trigger. So there's some stuff that I can clean up, certainly on the front end, to make this perform a bit better. As soon as I go over to the main deal. This just happens to do that. When I go to Ledger, and it's still here, thankfully. But whenever I refresh or whatnot, and I lose the connection with the wallet, it has a little bit of an issue, because if I'm on Ledger and I refresh and I lose this disconnect, I have multiple programs behind the scenes. So different IDLs and different workspaces are being used. But the root workspace here, just on the main route, this layout Svelte, I'll open it up over here. It's kind of the main one, right? So your app, when it loads, you have this, it's going to hit this first, but there's no wallet store, there's no workspace store that's created. So then I'm having this internal error. So I need to address that, obviously, but yeah, we are deployed. I can push these changes, at least what we have. I feel pretty good. It's working. I can push these changes, and then the Vercel live, the Vercel deployment should go through, and hopefully that has a successful build as well. So making progress. So I'm going to just confirm that real fast. We're going to take this, there's still some stuff I need to work out here for sure, but I'm going to close this down and push the changes. And now, let's see if I go to, over here, and now let's, rather than doing localhost with Vite running it, let's do these, Vercel app. And Vercel, after pushing the changes, successfully built and whatnot. And so here we are. If I hit connect, same kind of thing, pulls up Devnet, still shows my token balance. Here we are on on the deployed site. Yeah. So here we go. I'm pretty excited. So let me go in here and we'll create, let's do a deduction of, say, 50. And we'll do entry 2. And this is all on production at this point. Yeah. I'm getting 50 tokens back to the wallet. And here it is. Yeah. Cool. Super cool. So, and now it shows entry count of 2. Yeah, we're officially good. I mean, for the most part. Obviously there's some fine tuning. This is not, this has been fun. So, yeah, lots of learning along the way. Hopefully this will help out those of you who are experimenting with this stuff as well. I'll see you next time. Okay, well, I feel pretty good about everything that we've covered in this crazy series. I've got it deployed. It's public. There's stuff out here. Obviously, if you've been following along, you know that there are some bugs that still need to be worked out. But for the most part, functionality-wise, we've got a running Ledger program on Devnet with a SvelteKit powered front end. So yeah, lots has been learned throughout the process. I feel if you try to use it, it should work for you. If it doesn't, most likely there will be some instances where it does not. But try to find, go to the repo and submit some requests or post some new issues. Obviously, I'm learning this stuff as I go, and I'll try to smooth out some of the hard edges that we've encountered along the way. I've got these other programs out there, my escrow and voting. I still need to deploy those. It's encountering the same kind of program, ID mismatch. So I think it's just, I need to redeploy and double check everything for those as well. But for Ledger, we have a pretty simple Ledger app in place. Obviously, there's a lot of other cool things I'd like to, consider doing, various, incentives, staking or whatnot, putting, letting the ledger, be able to deposit some of the funds to a, kind of a long-term account to get a little bit of interest and whatnot. There's things like that you could totally incorporate into. Also, the idea of minting, maybe rewarding if a balance sustains over a certain amount for a certain period of time, then rewarding the ledger account with some NFTs or some sort of rewards as well. So there's a lot of little things that you could do with this. I'm going to continue to kind of polish up the front end and clean up some of the existing bugs as I go. But for the most part, the core functionality is there. So please check it out. Thanks for following along. I've got this. This is a massive playlist. This was a really big project. I've got this playlist. I also have my previous playlist building the escrow program as well. But I think this one's really cool, especially if you're interested in learning how SvelteKit and its data loading capabilities in the earlier mid part of these videos. Lots of learning along the way in terms of how SvelteKit, what sort of options SvelteKit provides in terms of fetching data for your application. And I did a lot of deep dives into the differences between fetching on-chain data from the server or from the client, and some of the pros and cons of those approaches. So yeah, lots of learning along the way. We've done quite a bit of modifications to our actual Solana programs too, using PDAs. Big discovery with the mint, being able to utilize a PDA for a mint, as well as using that PDA address as the mint's authority. So yeah, just quite a lot of cool stuff. Skeletons, quick and easy to use UI has been amazing because there's just so much to do. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Certainly was for me. Lots of learning. I'm always open to suggestions, feedback. If you would like to continue to expand on this program, by all means, reach out on GitHub, submit some issues and some recommended changes, and all for it. So thanks again for following along, and stay tuned.